Welcome to a symphonic episode of the Effin' Movie Podcast. We're your hosts, Dylan, Mason, Bryce, Nathan. Actually, in that order.
Yeah.
Good job.
I know.
It just took us sitting like this for you to get it.
Well, it's got to go in.
He's on the side.
I'm on the side, so it's got to. I'm the crust here.
And I'd eat you first.
Yeah. We're the Effin' Movie Podcast. We watch movies and talk about them. Mason, what movie are we talking? I legitimately don't remember.
Speaking of eating
the name
first,
Yeah.
This movie is called Frontiers, and they did a cute little thing where they put the S inside the apostrophe.
Frontier.
Or outside the,
What does that?
parentheses.
What does that
adorable
change?
thing.
I don't know.
It implies the ambiguousness of sitting there and saying this is either a single frontier and potentially plural.
Maybe.
So so if this was only one frontier, they could just say, well, we just left it open in case we were.
Yeah, just in case.
Oh, so this is the potentially their sequel.
Maybe there's another one.
Maybe there is.
I haven't looked, and I hope there's not.
Oof.
I want to first ask Mason, why on earth did you pick this movie?
Yes.
That's gonna be the question. We're gonna just put that out there.
Yeah, that's the question.
Yeah,
sure.
just
Yeah,
why?
because with you and French horror, there's a history. You
Alright.
you have kept an eye on this movie for how
Alright.
long before you?
So I've seen this movie about 3 years ago,
Uh-huh.
and there was a guy that I worked with, and I had mentioned Raw and I had sort of kind of gotten into like foreign horror or whatever, and he was like, "Man, I took a film studies class in college. I know so many movies you need to check out." He gave me this one. He gave me Martyrs. He gave me a movie called High Tension. He gave me a movie called Inside, which is like about a pregnant woman,
Oh yeah, I know that.
which is
Yeah.
bloody and
Yeah.
crazy. And it also gave me, like I said, like this one. And I watched all 4 or 5 of those within like a weekend. And they were all pretty darn good. Like I even had like, a couple of them above the other ones. And I remember this one being pretty good.
Was this the cream of the crop?
This was not the cream of the crop.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Anyways, the summary, this girl and this crew of like, I don't know, kind of like,
Assumed robbers. Of
yeah,
some
like
sort. They
thieves.
kind of
like,
just throw it at us.
just
It's not the only thing they throw at us.
rioters.
Yeah, rioters.
Yeah.
Trying to escape France. Things kind of go awry whenever her brother gets shot while he's like, causing some trouble, sort of. Anyways, they all kind of get split up. One group hits this hotel first. This like place that they think that they can stay the night. Turns out the people that are running this hotel are not good people. Actually, they have Nazi history.
Of course
Because
they do.
Of course
it's
they
the
do.
easiest way to make you hate them.
Yeah.
Yes, and then the second group comes in, and then the first group's already in trouble, and then they're all in trouble. Then this
Yeah.
girl is like the only one who gets basically saved and gets planned to move this family along by birthing more children. And it's just about her escape.
I want to start this off with the question.
Okay.
Can anyone name 2 characters out of this movie?
Like their actual name.
Their actual names. Their character
What was
names.
the big dumb brother?
Nope, that's not it. That's not his name. 2 names.
There's Daddy.
Okay.
Alex.
You're already doing bad.
Alex was
Who
the
is
brother
Alex?
that got killed because he said, "Alex is dead."
I'll take your word on that. Can anybody name one more?
Merd? I
It
think
starts
was
with an
one of
M.
Yeah.
I think that was one of them.
The fact that we're struggling
Okay,
to name
no.
2 characters.
I don't even want to cite that because I
That's
traditionally struggle with movie
Well,
names even
oh,
French
more.
yeah.
names, period. Like,
And plus they're French, so
Yeah.
that's not the gauge to go by.
But it focused on so few people. The fact that we can't name 2
that's
people,
not
I
true,
genuinely can't
because
either.
The
is
girl
atrocious.
that ran the hotel, like the
The blonde one?
Yeah,
or
the blonde one.
Yeah.
Her name started with a G, but it was very French.
But this doesn't matter. The fact that you can't say their names, and you've seen this twice.
I don't think that's a good merit, but I get what you're saying.
It's
Yeah.
terrible. Like these
Yeah.
characters, like I compare it almost to Cabin in the Woods, where like Cabin in the Woods, like they're one note. It's a spoof on itself, where like they're one note characters, but at least they have one note.
Yeah.
These characters have 0 notes. There's nothing
What about
to
a
them.
quarter
Well,
note?
They're so
What about an eighth
boring. No, I'm not giving
I
them an
think that's
eighth note.
disingenuous. There's the butcher guy in the early, not the big fat one, the dumb one downstairs, but the
Yeah.
one that runs like the kitchen.
The first one that got involved.
the one who
I
really
feel
starts
they all
going ham.
kind of have character to them.
They
Like
do.
they
I think
all
he had a
have their
sexual
own-
ambiguousness to him too. Whenever he was
Yeah.
just like,
They have their
yeah.
own motivation.
He, like
Yeah.
licking his lips.
I know. He's like, at least it's not it's the F word that we wouldn't use on this channel.
True.
But yeah, he says that. But then later, when it's just him and the guy, he's like licking his lips at him and stuff like that. And I'm like, all right, there's something a little. But I don't know if that's just not French. If the French are just all ubiquitously horny all the time. So French people, let us
We
know
are
in the comments
getting
below.
all over the place. I kind of want to start at the beginning of this
Yeah,
movie.
yeah, yeah. Let's start chronologically a little bit.
because
Oh.
this opens
Say what you.
with
say it.
like the right wing taking over France.
I thought I
and
was
it-
watching the wrong
and
movie.
it leading to riots in the streets
Mhm.
and like basically fascism rising in France all of a sudden, which would that had me.
Yeah.
Like they
Yeah.
had me in the first 15 minutes.
You
of
were
this
just
movie.
like-
I was
First half,
like,
not
oh,
gonna
what
lie.
is this gonna be like? I was definitely intrigued.
Yeah.
But
we
then,
had-
but then to me, it
And-
kept going. Like it was like 5 minutes long of like footage of like riots and stuff happening.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Of like random stuff.
There's
I was like,
footage,
it was like Birdemic, where like it just kept going.
No,
and
I
going.
wouldn't. I wouldn't go that bad, but it
You,
was.
you can't have too much riot footage.
Yeah, I was about to say. They clearly, like, them and Rage Against the Machine both agreed. It's like the same director of both music videos and this movie were just
Yeah.
like, never enough riot footage. Always more. Yeah, so it has that, like, you're right, it has an
Like that's
interesting
kind of
pitch.
the backdrop that they have, but they don't. It doesn't actually really mean a whole
No,
lot.
the
Right.
only thing that it did was basically you're keeping this baby, and then the brother, as he's dying, his last breath was like, "Keep the baby, like it's yours, it's your child, blah blah blah," and like that was the only thing that you got from that, which is silly. It's so dumb. And also another thing about the beginning of this movie, they throw what should be 70% of this movie at you within the first like 15 minutes. They are some kind of looters. They're some kind of rioters. They are fleeing France. They are not good people, but not bad people. Like the one that she was with, which I guess was her ex, was the worst. He was like the scum of the entire
The one that
group.
knocked her up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like, they are all just in deep shit. But that's only like 15 minutes in, and then the rest of the movie happens.
I will say this about the movie. It is all in the trailer. Like,
There's plenty
there's
of
a-
the trailer.
there's
Yeah.
smidge in
the
the bit.
trailer has you interested, and then as you watch the movie, you realize that was the sizzle reel of the entire movie.
Yes.
That was all the good.
this was the entire elevator pitch and, like, the concept all the way through of the movie and then some, right? Like, up until, like, the last Death in the Rains scenes and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Other than, like, that and, like, the previous 10 minutes before that. I was like, I'm like thinking back on the movie, and I was like, I remember the trailer, and then like all the stuff between the trailer scenes. I'm like, I'm already kind of hazy on it. I won't lie.
Yeah.
Like,
I vividly remember the kill scene with all the dead bodies hanging up
Yeah.
with your favorite guy, Dylan.
oh, is that the buzzsaw
That was
one?
that was
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
memorable.
Buzzsaw.
Yeah, that one's pretty sick. But that one was also in the trailer though.
Yeah.
So that
Oh, was it?
Oh yeah, yeah, it
I don't
showed
know
in it.
about that one.
I swear it
I
was.
just remember. I mean, you're right.
I remember the.
Yeah, I remember
the-
Another thing too is
I'm
just,
sure his
like,
name is Jock or something.
How many chances did this girl get? Like every
Yeah,
single
right.
person
Like 6 chances
had
to get
her
the
at the
hell
end
out
of a
of it.
barrel, and well, that's what I meant. Was just like everyone was like underestimating like this woman, like
Well,
the guy in
this-
the elevator shaft.
Yeah.
You
Had her
know,
dead to rights.
talking about just the sequence of this movie, you're halfway into it, and it seems like, okay, at this point, everyone she knows dies, and it's like, you know it's in a she escapes kind of movie. It's either a she escapes movie or it's a subversion of a she escapes movie,
Yeah.
Mhm.
but you still have half the movie to go
Yes.
at that point.
Yeah.
And they thinned the herd really soon into the
Yeah.
So fast.
Oh yeah,
Right.
like they were just dropping.
And they
like
didn't have the
flies.
bodies to do it either. They had like
No.
They
four
had
of them.
four. Yeah, just
Yeah.
four people,
Mhm.
and they killed them all.
They could
real
have let
quick.
the brother survive and made him like a meat bag, you know,
Right.
for him to get slaughtered first.
I
But
think-
no, he's stuck in the hospital.
I think
dead.
they thought that the family that was killing them was a lot more interesting than they were.
I thought they
because
kind of were.
the whole
interesting.
latter half of the movie is about them and like
Yeah.
trying to convert her and
Well,
stuff.
so that's where I thought, okay, maybe this movie can kind of come back, like do something a little different, be a little interesting. Like I could see this kind of subversion and like this twist of the
the
story,
brainwashing.
but
Yeah,
it didn't do that very well at all. It
They
didn't
were
really
too
do
busy
anything that interested.
killing.
Yeah, they were too busy killing. They like fighting amongst one another, which was maybe a kind of interesting idea.
Yeah.
But man, they leaned really hard on the grandfather Nazi man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I wanted more of, and also what you just said as far as
he
like
wasn't good though.
he wasn't good, but I feel like he could have been flushed out. Whenever you
And
said
his-
that they were fighting against each other, that all happened way too fast.
Oh yeah, like it was just
boom.
like, well, they did have hints of it. Like the heavier set butcher guy,
Yeah.
he definitely did not seem to be happy with what he was doing.
You're right.
Which is why he kept pointing at his.
But
grandfather.
also, like early on, he grabs that dude out of the little
The
tunnel
hole.
chute thing to kill him.
Yeah.
Pretty casually. Doesn't seem to have a problem then.
I think it's just the grandfather that he didn't like.
Yeah, and continuing with the grandfather, the other thing that seems really stupid in this movie is they were playing on this whole Nazi pure blood stuff, but then he was like, she's not pure blood, but we have to continue the line anyway, and
we just
and
cut
then
her
like he
hair.
had some speech about somehow her being like them being the true pure blood, whatever.
Right.
It's like, how the fuck does any of this make sense?
He
Yeah.
could have
It's
at least made her
terrible.
blonde. Like
He-
he could have gotten a blonde girl.
Like they could have just actually had a blonde girl, so
Yeah.
his logic was actually
This close.
some way
Yes.
logical
Yeah.
instead of just the utter
And
nonsense.
why did the hair have to get cut? Even the other girl's
Yeah,
hair
it's
wasn't
like,
cut.
Because
they
they're
don't-
already
they
that
don't
far
like
in on the
brown
V for
hair. It's like,
Vendetta,
well,
so-
what are you gonna do? Like, I expected they were gonna put a wig on her or something.
Yeah.
But no, we don't like brown hair. But
This movie really
Except
did.
for the little hunchback girl
Yeah.
that like has birthed 5 different children or whatever.
which you
No.
barely see those.
No, you see like a
Like,
little
you
scurry.
see him like hunched around
Yeah.
a corpse at one point, and then that's
Which
it.
were like mutants too. Why were they
Yeah.
mutants?
Yeah.
They were just like cave dwelling human
I think
beings.
that's like there's like an inbred like implication there
Maybe.
for them being that.
Yeah.
way.
Which that kind of harkens to like The Hills Have Eyes.
Yeah,
Right.
And, like,
100%.
That like whenever I was watching this movie, so much of what I was thinking
No,
about
I
with it
agree.
was just like, how does this compare to other movies of this style?
Oh, yeah.
Like House of a Thousand Corpses, Hills Have Eyes. There was some other
Hostel.
ones.
Hostel was the one that I
I
thought of,
haven't
but you're
seen
right.
that one.
Oh, there's 5 of them.
Hostel would gone out of their way to actually show you boobs though. If I recall
Yeah,
correctly.
Hostel's big into boobs.
Yeah, well,
they'll show you every single
they knew.
one.
This one's side boob, no boob. This one also taking not only the rebirth and the rain scene from V for Vendetta, but the haircutting scene.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
it seems they just watched like this one tiny little snippet, and then they're like, okay, is this actually just like a really bad French sequel?
So this is what I was kind of thinking too. Is just
Because
like,
the government regime oppression taken over, we have a big riot scene going on. The main character, woman, ends up getting her hair shaved and then having a moment out in the rain afterward.
So
this
it's
is just V
what-
for Vendetta, but
You're
what's
skipping a lot of
it's
stuff.
Like the early prequel, like the very beginning, but this was in France and
And this was
Vendetta's
in
in
the
Britain.
UK. Yeah, UK.
yeah. Well, I mean, France has their own stuff going on.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
Let's talk more
France is
about
always rioting.
more like the technical aspects of this movie. This movie has, I will go out and say, I've watched quite a few movies for this podcast and movies beforehand. This has the worst camera positioning and movement I have ever seen in a movie. I'm including Cloverfield. I'm including Paranormal Activity. I'm including any movie.
I've seen too many bad
ever
movies
seen.
Well,
to agree
This
with
one
you.
feels is
I've seen way too
intentional.
many
This one's
bad
awful.
movies.
Like the
What,
just-
you didn't like that car chase scene
where
where it
I don't
kept
know
like
what
showing
was
like
going
the
on.
guy's neck
Is it
for a
this
section
or
of it?
Thanksgiving?
It was awful.
No,
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving has more stable shots than this.
Thanksgiving
Yeah,
was more. Yeah, I mean, but you're
Or
right.
no, not Thanksgiving. Birdemic. Sorry, I'm
Birdemic,
thinking of all
yeah.
the dumb bird movies that Price makes
Birdemic
us
was
watch.
always on a tripod, so I mean,
Yeah.
it's whatever.
But that's to say,
Yeah.
at least like it's stable.
It wasn't, I guess
It
was.
like the shots may not have been great, but like it was stable. This one, it was not. It was all over the place, and even when it was stable, it had horrible shots throughout the movie.
The quality
It's
is
most unappealing
not great
thing.
either, though. I'll also say
Yeah.
that it feels like it's like you know some like modern movies now are shot on like full on iPhone, right? Like they'll tell you they always do. This one was shot like on a Motorola Razr from like 2007. Like,
I will
mean,
say-
they did have those.
I know they had it on hand.
That's the phones
The
they were
flip
using.
phones.
Yeah.
It's weird. I don't know how they recorded it when they had it in their hands. That
I was
the strange
actually,
thing.
I was just thankful that the trailer was way worse quality than the movie. Because, like, after you guys had asked me if the movie was like that, I was like, no, it's way better. And then as I was, like, starting to watch it, I was like, oh my god. What if it's the same quality of the trailer where it's, like, blurry, like 720?
It wasn't too much better.
Oh, that was like 360p.
The
That
trailer
was
was bad. Yeah,
rough.
yeah. The trailer was.
The
bad.
trailer was right. Yeah, like, how do you fuck that up, right? Like, it's this is the trailer of your movie, and you can
You know-
upload it to of any quality, and
Yes.
you got it.
Well, I mean, it's American YouTube, right? Or
I
is there French YouTube?
I guess as it went through the French YouTube, like
It was
the
also in
tubes,
07.
The compression.
It was newer.
yeah, it got French compressed.
Man,
So-
but, you know, for it being 07, they were a little prescient with the idea of the rise of the right wing, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that.
They-
That's what made me think this was a newer movie. I didn't realize it was that old.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
they were a little
07,
ahead of the curve
okay.
on seeing
Yeah.
that.
Okay, so the things that this movie does wrong, which there's plenty, but my main one, if Price's is
God.
technical, the cinematic part,
Mhm.
the horror. I mean, this is
Yeah.
a horror movie. It's supposed to be.
I thought it was going to be way more gruesome. It did
Yes.
not actually
Yeah.
seem
Didn't do anything.
that bad.
The trailer,
All
like,
the trailer had all the worst scenes.
the trailer
Yeah.
was like, the trailer's supposed to be like, here's a taste of what
Yeah.
you're gonna get,
Yeah.
just a little
Not
taste.
the
the
whole
highlight
thing.
reel.
Yeah,
Right.
and the trailer was like, you're gonna go to hell, and like
Yeah.
we're clipping Achilles tendons, we're doing all this junk.
Hope you like everything we're gonna throw at
Right.
you. No, but like
or
they
the gallons of blood they're gonna throw
Yeah.
in the main
Yeah.
actors.
Yeah,
the
so
guy's
much
head exploding, and they were just like, "How much blood can we pour
Yes.
on?"
Right.
I will say, whenever she was covered up from that bandsaw,
Yeah.
I was like, she really needs to get cleaned up because it looked awful. She had that white dress that was just vivid red after that. So like the blood, I guess, was kind of there, but like they pulled back on so many shots. Like they really could have indulged themselves on more.
Well,
of
they
it.
didn't. Did they actually show the
Yes,
they
Achilles
did
getting
that.
cut?
Twice.
Yeah.
No,
They
they
did
only
both.
showed it once,
They
but
only showed
he
it once, but
he
he-
kind of sort of did it again, and he like screamed. Or
Okay,
something.
so I did look away from the screen, and then as I looked back, I saw him clipping, but it wasn't like on screen.
No,
I
it
was
was like it had just cut away, but it was
it's
just
like, are they being PG about this?
like even the part in the freezer where the guy was trapped, and then the big massive butcher guy like locked him in there and like turned the I guess
The freezer also has a cook option. Can we
heater.
talk about that for a
Well,
What that
second?
and
was.
so it wasn't a freezer; it was a boiler room.
okay.
Okay. But it looked like a
That's kind of
freezer
a-
from the outside build. And it
That's
had
kind
like
of a weird structure. Like, what is
Yeah.
that for?
Yeah.
What do you do with that?
It was also
Why
like
is
a
it-
4x4 room.
Like-
they had like 3 different pods
Right.
next to each other.
In theory, it could have been like a meat freezer or something like that, because there's like the cannibalistic undertone that goes on for a lot of this movie. But
oh, there was
I don't know,
definitely
It's an
eating people.
overtone. They
They
were
were
eating
eating her
people.
one
well,
of her friends.
yeah,
For sure.
they are. I guess they're not as obnoxious enough about it for me to sit there and like.
Well, at one point he did say like you should be familiar with what you're eating.
Oh yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
That seems stupid.
Which I liked the grandpa. I did. I thought he was like
I
menacing,
oh,
but
sucked.
like he just didn't have enough time before he got freaking off to just like everyone else in this movie. It's like they flipped a switch. And it was right before like that girl took him hostage, like in the big room where like
Oh, they have all the shit off and everything
M1
else
Garens were getting drawn, and like
Yeah.
that. You remember that bar?
It's like The Office.
That light machine gun from like Call of Duty. He was.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I love how they just have World War II era Nazi weaponry.
Well,
they
that's
never
facts.
bothered to get
Hanging
anything.
Why
new.
up
Let's
there?
just, we got these things. They're reliable. I
Yes.
mean, he was using like that
Yeah,
old looking
The
pistol.
Walther
right.
P22 side.
Yeah.
It's just like what on earth, or P38. It was insane. It was this movie was just it could have been better in a lot of different areas, but it just seemed like they just cranked the notch up for the speed. You know what?
This movie did speed run itself, though.
I think it's thin.
I don't.
I'm gonna spoil it.
I don't.
This
You're
movie-
absurd.
This movie was over, and I felt like it took it maybe an hour. Now I know it was an hour and 30 or an hour and
Hour
40.
48.
This movie's
Oh, 48.
fat as
Because
shit.
I towards the end of it
Fat,
was
Thin,
thinking,
Perfectly
like,
Fit, we're in
when
there
the
now.
hell is this movie gonna end?
Yes,
Like,
I was the
was
same
I was just
way.
like, man, just fucking get over yourself.
I just wanted more in it. I wanted more inside
Alright,
of
so
it.
fat, thin. Strangely, I see both opinions. Mason's not wrong because it is thin on the fact that this is a movie with like a skeleton structure that is all bones, and then the bones keep falling on top of you. And I do keep wondering where the meat of the character is in the story.
You
and
just
everything
get a
is.
hint of meat on
Yeah.
like every other
Right.
I
fifth
mean,
bone.
I
But that
feel
being-
like that argument is an argument of there should have been a different movie made.
It was yeah,
You know?
Which we've done
But
plenty,
at least,
yeah.
like, watch a different.
to
movie.
my point, this right. So in the editing room, so to speak, though, I'm like, I scrapped this whole movie. Like I scrapped the whole movie entirely. I'm like, no, there's nothing to
Alright,
work
give
with.
us the Dylan cut of
We-
this
we-
movie.
The Dylan cut is all right. So we said last episode, if I was actually editing, it would be all that was left on the table. You watched it. The version,
trailer?
I would, yeah, like it would just be the trailer. That would be all that's left.
Dylan's in the room, in the production room, and he comes out, and all the executives are sitting out there waiting for him. And as Dylan's just walking out, there's like a bonfire behind him, and he's just doing, and he just walks out.
Burn it all.
He's out. I'm
Nothing's
out.
salvageable. Yeah, the trailer is what makes it out of this one because like all the meat is right there, and that's pretty much it. This can be cut down to a 2.5 minute ish movie.
They showed that.
They did.
They managed to do it.
Definitely did. If anything, the trailer would be thin because I would just tack on a little bit at the end to sit there and show her do the running away, getting like that.
No, you got to show the
Her in the rain. We didn't
I
talk about that
swear,
yet, but one of the
I saw
last scenes,
that
she's just
part.
like,
Yeah.
And if there was any hope left that anyone would like this movie, it was gone. Like it was so stupid.
So we haven't hit on one note, and we'll do that before we get into scores, and that's how this movie ends.
I was gonna ask, how'd you guys like the police on the like? It's supposed to be open-ended.
This is a terrible ending.
It's supposed to be open-ended.
It's an open-ended thing where it's like, oh, they're rescuing you.
Maybe.
But potentially. Or,
Yes.
oh, we caught you. Which is the implication that I get from this, because if the, the
don't
last thing you
know.
see her in her in Civilized World is like her running away from like the brother and all that.
Yeah, and the cops.
And then
and
cops
the brother
are
says
yeah.
like run away.
Yeah. So she runs away for a little bit, and this may seem like a long time in her world, which is fair. But in like the
But
real world,
it's
this may maybe a
been-
day.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
This is a
no,
good
it's been
chunk.
a few days.
It's been a few
Yeah,
days,
this is a
yeah.
good chunk away from where they were too. I mean, they were
Sure.
driving and then it got
but when
dark.
you're the new regime
Sure.
of France, you're just like, yeah, let's go look at that Hitler farm, and then they just see her like.
I think that like even if the cops were good and like you're in trouble
Right.
because your resume just gets wiped after this.
Listen, either way,
you
if
just
she
get
goes
to show what you just been through. And
if she
you're
goes to
clean.
jail, that's a win for her at this point. Like she's
She's
just
not
like
going to-
compared
she's
to what
not
my
going to
alternative
jail.
was just now, I'll take jail.
Yeah.
I don't know how the French are, but
Well, then she gets beheaded because it's France. So.
the guillotine.
Yeah, exactly. There's no jail in France.
Yeah,
it's just the
guillotine.
Mhm.
French
I've
people,
played
let us know if
Skyrim.
that's accurate. I don't
Yeah.
know. Anyway, do we want to get into scores and all that?
Mason, you actually not have a question for
If you
this
don't,
one?
if you have a question.
Well, okay. So, with this kind of movie, what I did come from at the end was, you know what? They're gonna appreciate Raw because that was horror done better. That was storytelling. That was progression. That was point A to point B. Whereas this movie was so much worse. And I don't know. Do you guys agree?
Yeah.
Better
Are you saying like, is this better than Raw?
Yeah.
Or is this worse than Raw?
or worse than Raw?
Yeah, no, like
Yeah.
Raw.
Okay.
Raw is
Yeah.
a conceptual movie from
It
start to
has
finish
its
with
place.
interesting characters, right? Like,
It's interesting. It tells a story that's interesting. It has
Yeah.
twists to it. Like it has you engaged far better than this.
this
Yes.
feels like this is like the intro, it's like the same director, but this is like his intro to like directing.
I was
course,
gonna say
right?
Oh,
this.
yeah.
This feels like a higher budget like student project.
Right, right. Like he
Like
either
student
came from
project horror film where like they think they're really smart and
Mhm.
edgy using like Nazi stuff.
And they
but
hit all the
really
right
they're
notes.
So
Yeah.
unoriginal.
But they shoot through all the right notes and they don't give anything because like they did the right things in this movie, I think, or a lot of them. They
I disagree.
they hit the fast forward button through every single bit of this crap, and they could have.
Mason's
I-
like,
I
give me
think,
the 3-hour
I
version.
agree.
Yeah, I
they
want the
could
director's
have done
cut.
things better, but they did everything wrong. So
Yes.
it's like, don't. This is
It-
just a bad movie.
yeah,
don't
just chalk it
don't
up.
try
Yeah.
and save it.
Brush
Don't
it under
try
the
and say
rug.
like, oh, it could be recut. It can't be recut.
Yeah,
So
you're right,
I think
yeah.
it's funny, Mason. You say that you would watch the director's cut, but this is the director's cut. The hour 48, according
telling
to
you.
like the YouTube version.
Yeah.
Maybe
says
it's just because I kept waiting for it to
This-
get better, and then by the time hour 37 came up, and I was like, oh.
Yeah. Because I
Oh,
promise you,
no.
once I saw director's cut of this, I immediately started looking for anything else. But this is the only one. It is the definitive edition.
Did
is
you
the
pay
only
to
thing.
watch this?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I did
Yeah,
too.
I had to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to. I couldn't find it anywhere
so
else.
we just gave
You
the
all
French
three
$12
did?
for this.
I
piece of
normally,
garbage.
I normally will bleep this out. I normally torrent if I just straight because I don't have the patience anymore. Like
I gave you guys the website.
yeah, so
Oh,
effed up
I'm not
website.
going
That
there.
sounded like a
No,
virus.
no,
Even amongst-
subscribe, no.
Even amongst the trashy sites that we go to watch movies, that one sounded especially bad.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's not worth slowing down my
I only had
computer.
to
Same.
close 5 different windows.
I went to YouTube and it was $4. And whenever I didn't see any tits, I was genuinely concerned that for some reason, because it was on YouTube, that it would have just been some weird version.
I kind of thought that too.
Yeah.
Like, because I thought the trailer definitely heavily implied that
Yeah.
there would be
There'd be
nudity.
some nudity,
Wasn't there? What was it rated?
It had to be R.
It has to be R.
With the violence?
Yeah.
In a European country? Violence?
Yeah.
Yeah, PG-13 here for sure.
Well,
but like,
that's actually, it's even weirder being a European thing that there wasn't
wasn't
nudity.
more nudity.
Not that
Yeah.
I'm like wanting that, but I'm
Oh,
just
I
saying,
am.
like from my perspective, yeah, I thought the same thing. The YouTube version just must have been
a little bit more
an
edited.
Americanized
Yeah.
censor.
I'll tell you, if this was me and I have to keep this movie, I'd just take Jacques or whatever the buzzsaw dude's name is,
Yeah.
naked, and he goes up, and whenever he goes to the buzzsaw, he cuts his dick is out,
Yep.
and it goes right up in the gut into the dick, and then splits the dick in half like a hot dog. So that's the only
Like a
dis-
split dog.
Yeah,
Like you cooked a hot dog too long in the microwave.
There's a split. Well, you can, no, I can't say that because the connotation will get out of hand. But it's a choking hazard otherwise, right? You got to cut up the hot dogs. So,
Oh my god.
so yeah, that's the only thing I change in the movie, and I leave it all the rest because they're like, we have to keep it.
Dylan, you're on a roll right now. How about you just segue
Yeah.
on into your score?
All right. First of all, Mason, do you have what critics everybody got ready on this?
Oh no, not yet.
I know it's not
I'll
time for
check
it,
it out.
but Jesus, I don't know. This movie's bad. Like
It was rough.
this, I won't even say I've been defending it. Just here's the thing, though. It's bad, and it's definitely actively bad. But whenever I'm talking about it, there weren't things that were so absolutely insane, like frustrating to me, that it makes me like miserable. This movie's bad, and it's wasting my time. An hour 48 of not doing mostly anything.
Nothing that
about
you
it.
haven't seen already.
Yeah.
A lot
Wasting
better.
your time and your money.
It is, yes. Now,
You
my,
got- I'm
doing my best to take the money thing out of it. I'm
The
like,
money needs to be out of it.
I've wasted $4 on worse things, so I'm like, all right. So money aside, this movie still didn't give me dick or tits though. And for a horror film that is in the bad side of horror, that's a poor excuse. You had all the possibility to do so. So I'll put this movie right at a 4. This movie sucks. This movie
Just
sucks.
wait.
Oh no, you just wait, buddy.
And we're about to see what
Well,
happens.
do you want me to hit it next then?
I don't care.
Nathan, take it from the top.
You go ahead, Nathan.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this movie for me is a 2.
Ugh.
might have
It truly wasted my time, and I do
And your
consider
money.
that it wasted my money.
Yeah.
Because it was, I mean, yeah, sure, I could have watched it the way that you have,
Sure.
but I wasn't going to do that.
This is like give your computer a
and,
virus.
you know, that
Yeah.
it also gets a 2 because we watched the trailer, and the trailer did make me think that this was not going to be the worst movie.
It did give an expectation. Huh?
Yeah, like
It was fun after the trailer. Yeah, there was some like high points that we were talking about.
Yeah, when we were talking about it, it's like, yeah, this might actually have potential. No, it didn't.
No.
It had a stupid, threadbare plot, and it was mostly just like a slasher flick, done by the French and done pretty
Poorly.
shittily.
Yeah.
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 Little
Yeah.
shit too. Pig shit.
There's a lot of
There's a lot of fluids in this
interesting scenes.
movie. They love just covering this woman in.
I
yeah.
call it a stretch to say there's a lot of interesting scenes. There's they have offered nothing new to the genre.
I just like the machine gun part in the ballroom when they were all just like,
Alright, wait, are you talking about whenever the 2 girls were shooting at
I
her
like
in
that
the
part
shed?
at the end.
Oh,
I
when
thought
the-
that was...
No, it wasn't.
Because I'm
good.
about to just...
No, I meant like their death was kind of cool because
Oh, the
like
explosion.
yeah, the explosion.
Yeah.
No, I forgot. No, that
No,
part
that-
was,
that
they wasted
was-
all their
yeah,
ammunition in
like-
the wall.
Oh, they were deliberately shooting the fucking wall and stuff. Like, that's their own goddamn house.
If they survive this, they're gonna have to remodel that.
Mason's so mad with the poor
So
the
stupid.
poor
I
trigger
almost
discipline
forgot about
involved
that.
with this. Is that what's gonna put you under? Is the
Do you
trigger
see
discipline?
how high
in this
bullets
movie?
are right now?
Yeah, gas is 429 here right now, and they're blowing shit up with what I assume is gas.
I would like to amend my score to 1.5.
Oh, he talked it down.
Bow, bow.
Because that was incredibly stupid. And
That
I
was-
forgot
that might have been the
just
worst
how-
scene.
And then the
how
blonde
much
girl
that
lived
pissed me off.
somehow, and then she was like, "Look at my ripped arms."
Yes.
Nathan, I know you don't usually try to do any fun edits, but after Price gave us his score, can you cut in like an edit of just like somebody jumping off the turnbuckle and elbow dropping somebody with Mason's face on it? It's just us
Just
doing
smiling though.
Yeah.
And then at the last minute,
Yeah, because I think that would be a great edit. That's one for the mental one. But Price, go ahead and give this a 0.5 or something. I don't know.
All right. Well, this movie was a genuine waste of time, and that is the worst thing I can have say about a movie. That's why I gave Excalibur such a low score, even though that was like something like
Excalibur's great.
let me say quote unquote like interesting. Like at least it was doing something.
Yeah.
It hit the note it was going for. I was really expecting just like a gory, just like super violent slasher movie, just like nothing to it, but we're gonna load up the movie with kids and we're gonna kill them all. That's what I was
hop
expecting.
in.
And that's not what it gave. It's tried like the beginning of like the first half is like trying to be like this torture kind of thing. Then the last half is like Nazi family drama thing. Both of those things I've seen before. Both of them I've seen a million times better. This movie is not middle of the road. It's actively terrible, and it has nothing going on. It, like I said, it has the worst camera work I've ever seen. It made me sick to watch, and like I couldn't tell what was going on. I didn't know one character. The dialogue's terrible. The characters are terrible. Mason's terrible for picking this.
I am.
Like
I am.
this movie, like I'm gonna start giving the score more because I think I can justify it more in the future. But this is gonna be the first time I feel truly fine with giving a movie a 0.
Oh wow.
I think it failed in every mark. I think it failed in every thing it went for. Like it failed at being scary. It failed at being engaging. It failed at developing characters. It failed at everything. Like there's nothing redeemable about this movie. When Dylan said like if you gave me this movie to recut, he would trash the whole movie. I feel the exact same way. There is nothing about this movie that warrants it being released and people watching it. The acting's terrible. The blood is terrible. Even like the horror's terrible. They give it all to you in the trailer. It's a truly horrible movie. It's terrible.
So I
yeah,
guess the
go
horror
ahead.
wasn't going for scary; it was going for horrible. It was just
Oh, insert rim shot.
yeah.
Squirt.
Squirt.
And squirt. Yeah, so Price and I were talking about this a little bit right before this, and he asked me, "Is this not the worst movie that you've ever seen?" I've
No.
seen way too many bad movies. Not even just within this group, just in general.
We were talking. I said, like, do you think it's gonna be like Raging Bull? Like everybody's gonna give it that low of a score. And Mason's like, no way. No, Raging Bull is like the worst. Like,
Yeah.
there's no way.
What did I give Raging Bull? 'Cause-
This is gonna be worse.
yeah, this is worse. But
Well, Raging Bull, you gave it a 4.5. I gave it a 4.5. You
I was
gave
about
it
to
a 4.
say it. Okay, so this feels about right. Yeah.
Yeah. Now I will say that like
Fucking Raging Bull.
as far as interest level, you know, this movie did keep my interest up, but I think it was only because it was maybe this will get better. Maybe the storyline will actually make some sense. Maybe this Nazi family will win. I don't know. Like maybe they can do something with it by the end. They didn't do anything with it by the end. It is not the worst movie I've ever seen. I was teetering between a 5 and a 5.5. I think I'm gonna land at a 5.5 just
Boo.
because.
Yeah, you gotta keep that GPA.
Boo, kick it up.
I mean, it's not gonna make any difference.
No,
Just
that's
to give it a
fine.
5 or a 5. But like
Yeah.
this interests me a little bit towards towards all the way through. But it's not a great movie for it. It was fun to watch on the second time through. I will say, Price asked me what I had it at originally, and it was a 7.5.
Whoa.
3 years ago.
Whoa.
And
Whoa.
How quickly
I
our
was
brain
so
evolves.
wrong.
Yeah.
I was so wrong. This is kind of like Coda, where like Coda dropped a whole point for me on the second watch. Same thing here. It just started.
Don't you put Coda at the same
Yeah,
time?
don't do that.
Hey, this is just another one of my movies though. Like I need to study. But yeah, tomato meter was
God, yeah.
just 55%.
See, so actually,
22 reviews.
Yeah, I mean,
22.
Well,
who's reviewing
we are
this?
4 reviews, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
we're roughly 20%.
Yeah, we can profile that. We can drop those numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and audience score was 53. So it's like this is just one of those movies that just doesn't get watched much. It's
So-
like, that's all it is.
So great point to the subjectivity of percents and numbers, right? So if you said 53%, you said, okay, a little bit more than 1 in 2 people found this movie okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
there we go.
Which is why, like, I would just go back to why my scale and Mason's
Yeah.
scale makes more sense for numbers.
That's
'cause
true.
5s are stinky.
There's the go.
But if you said 1 and 2 people were like, okay, ugh, God, it's just, yeah.
Anyways,
Well,
Get
you
your-
ready for that wheel?
Yeah,
Yes.
buddy. Mason,
Let's do it.
You're gonna actually get
get
this
this.
I want to
valve
spin it.
based
I haven't got to
now.
spin it
Yes,
once.
you
I've
have.
literally
You
I have
spun it
not.
before, and it was
I
terrible.
literally
Give me
never
this
spun
in
that
his
wheel.
head.
Yeah.
Baby driver, let's go.
Go ahead. Hold on. Wait. We gotta make sure it's centered. Okay.
Good?
Yeah.
Who's picking if it's a category?
Oh, hold on.
We'll figure it out.
Is
Spin
it,
it.
is it up to date? Because I do remember.
It's just
Frontiers
Frontiers
Frontiers.
is still on there, buddy.
Mason.
Ah,
See, aha!
Well, let's
So I-
figure it
Alright,
out.
what's the odds?
Yeah, let's see what happens.
What's the odds?
I've got an idea for a
What are the
category.
odds?
Well, you're gonna need it because it's gonna land on
I
that.
hope it does.
Damn. Don't break that
That
wheel.
was all my frustration.
Oh, it was close.
In Bruges.
More French.
In Bruges! I just put that on yesterday.
Yesterday,
Or
last week.
Yeah.
Yes,
See,
It's the
this
Dylan
wheel,
Mason show.
this wheel loves me. That's the best season. Anyway, let's get that trailer because I have no idea what this movie's about.
Look, it's Coda still.
I do know Colin.
From 4 weeks ago.
Hell yeah. I do know Colin Farrell's in this movie, as you can tell, and that's all I know about this movie.
That guy's in a lot of stuff, too.
I've been
Yeah.
told to watch this.
Yeah.
Again, I don't remember who told me.
So none of us have seen it. It's Focus Features. It's good.
You
It's
know,
gonna be great.
I'm not sure.
Wait, isn't Focus? Isn't that like Big Sick?
Yes.
Yeah.
Screw you.
That was like it's Daredevil. It's not Daredevil.
No. Although he was in Daredevil. Yeah. He was Bullseye in the bad one. In the bad Daredevil.
Oh yeah.
I feel like I've seen this before. I'm pretty sure I've seen
This reminds me of Brothers Bloom, but with Colin Farrell.
it.
Yes. You have a message. Number one, why aren't you in when I told you to be? If that be when I call again, or that be now to pay. Telling you. He swears a lot, doesn't he? Let's go out. Where? The pub.
That guy's in a lot of stuff too.
I'm trying to figure out what the tone of this movie is.
Is it gonna be kind of like
I don't know.
Brothers Bloom, but like
It's got like
mixed with like Shaun of the Dead?
people are getting shot and shit, but it's kind of funny. I think this is gonna be one of those bad trailers to get a tone from it.
You guys are crazy.
That being said, I'm a sucker for Colin Farrell, so this will
Yeah,
probably.
he's handsome.
Yeah.
Fam. There's a dog in it.
Yeah.
She's a prostitute, but not around prostitutes in Bruges. Just have to look in the right places. Brothels are good.
I don't know why that cut did it for me, but it does.
I want a normal gun for a normal person. Maybe that's what it is.
This is like Transporter. This is like a Jason Statham. movie.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like. It's Crank.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
got a little bit of that, but
Yeah.
Shoot
plot
first,
wants
I
to
see.
be a little more whimsical.
Yeah, it has.
Slevin, Lucky Number Slevin.
Yeah, it has like that action tongue-in-cheek
Yeah.
style comedy that
Yeah.
we traditionally like on this cast, though.
I mean, yeah.
I don't think
Yeah.
it's gonna be as witty or as smart as Snatch, but it kind of feels
Yeah,
like
I was
it's.
gonna say it's also a little Snatch kind of.
Yeah, it has like little
Yeah.
sprinkles of Snatch mixed in with
Yeah.
like some of the like the lesser tier movies like Crank and stuff like that. So
Hmm.
I don't know. A buddy of mine like says this is like his favorite movie hands down. So I was randomly like, sure, I'll put it on my list. So and then we just spin it 2 weeks later. So Steven, you're gonna watch that episode. You're not gonna watch this one, so that shout out was meaningless. But
No one's gonna watch this.
yeah, everybody's gonna be like, what the fuck's Frontiers? And then
In the thumbnail, put like average 2.
yeah,
Like
average 2-ish.
something.
Yeah, like
Just
2.5.
start putting the weighted
The
average
weighted
score.
overall score on it.
Yeah.
That would, God, the amount of editing I have to go back now to do the weighted score for all of
That,
those.
that's he has the
Yeah, yeah.
details in the.
Yeah, that's on you, buddy. So you're the one with all the
Oh.
scores.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, guys,
Forget about that. Yeah.
that's our show this evening. Burp. And yeah, so next week we're watching In Bruges with Colin Farrell and that other Gleason, not the one that you know, the other one.
And in summary, don't watch this movie.
Don't watch this movie.
If you made it this far, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. That's it. Anyway, let us know what you think in the comments below. Are there other movies that you just wouldn't watch? What movies do you feel like are your frontiers? of movies you wouldn't ever recommend. In fact, they should just be deleted. Make sure to let us know.
Hit the bell, dude. Set
Oh.
me up.
Make sure to like this video if you like the content we're doing, because we watch movies for you that you should never have to. Make sure to hit the bell so whenever we get it. And we'll tune in next week for In Bruges. Bye, guys!
Bye.
That movie was bad, and you should feel bad, Mason.
I thought it was fine.
I enjoyed it.